Okay, so we're back home. Our flight, everything was okay. Nothing bad happened, and I've already started the day with like getting some donations out. Some of the stuff that usually I'm selling and that hasn't really been selling for the longest time, I'm just separating it, and we might drop it off before I have lunch. We're going to church. They're having lunch there today, and that's pretty much what we're gonna eat, and then we're gonna go grocery shopping. We're out for a couple of weeks, so some things are missing. And after that, I don't know, but I'm excited that we're having like kind of like an active day instead of just resting, which I think is usually what you expect. Once you come back from a trip, particularly one like where you've been so long, out of commission. But I don't know, like I think I'm craving some change. Might have to do with my head, because basically what happened is that as as I was coming home, like I ended up watching a movie, for the entirety of it, so I wasn't really thinking about things. I watched, I think it's called Reptiles, is from Netflix. It features, Benicio del Toro, Justin Timberlake, Alicia Silverstone, and it's interesting. This is a bit of like not a whodunit, not in that classical like have a detective type of way, but have a crime and then they're just figuring things out. And I think that was a good movie to kind of just get me gripped. Because what happened when I was going is that started watching something, but I ended up like losing interest like halfway through. So I was just listening to music, which was also great. But like I wanted to kind of like take the time to, I don't know, because usually when you fly international and the flights are longer, I mean, at least I end up like not sleeping for a whole lot. I usually just watch things. I don't know, I find it exciting. It's kind of like a ritual, something that makes me grounded, I guess. I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make is that yesterday evening when I was, I went to bed after I had like separated everything, not everything, some of the stuff I still, I'm setting aside today, but I kind of like my head wasn't doing very well, and I've had to take my little pill. But after that I was able to sleep, and everything was okay. But in those moments where like before I took the pill and I was not okay, I was having certain thoughts, and I was a little bit frustrated with the fact that I was having those thoughts because I was doing so well yesterday. The last video I recorded was basically me talking about turning my life around and just planning for the future and just all of that. And right now I'm kind of okay, but I no longer have the same impetus to kind of like do any of those things. So that is not particularly great for me, and it's a little frustrating. But it's just the first day. It's a Sunday. Like let me like let's things kind of like get started. Tomorrow's Monday, so let's like the week start properly, and like I get back to my schedule, and I have some structure to see how I'm feeling about things. But I will say that this week and tomorrow I have therapy in the evening, and then I have to go tomorrow morning to the health center. We need some some documents for regarding like my health and stuff. So we're gonna go tomorrow to see if we kind of like can get them done, because I need them by the 20th, which is next Sunday. So things sometimes they take a little while, so it's important for us to just go right away, so that by the time that by the 19th comes about, I already have everything I need. But yeah, so I'm waiting for the week to properly start, which is also probably why I want like some more action, not just sitting around, because my dad right now has my laptop and he's just starting getting back to work, basically just getting some of the information he hasn't added the spreadsheets and all that that he does. And when I had the laptop, I'm gonna try and work on my novel. I don't know if in this particular state of mind I'll be able to accomplish anything, but regardless, I'm gonna try. And yesterday was actually doing pretty well as far as like writing was concerned. The laptop also it restarted itself. I had to like update, and something I've been postponing it, and then it did from yesterday to today. It decided to update itself, and I didn't really lose anything. Thankfully, this is not like a couple decades ago, in which I probably would have lost everything that was like open. Everything is there, and as I said, I was working on a chapter, and there's another one that I have to add. I still don't know where I'm gonna add that one, but I did find a place where I'm gonna add the first one, and I'm developing it. I still don't know exactly like where things are, where we're going, because basically I'm in this situation where I'm like, I don't want to show too much. I want to show enough amount of time. I want to show, not tell, but like there's just a lot of things to show, so I have to be kind of like selective with like the things I'm gonna show, because otherwise the novel is going to be too long, and also you don't need to see like every beat that is going with the characters. In the first two novels, they were very much like beat by beat, but it was because things were happening. But like this right is the third novel, like there's a little more time happening between things, so I don't really need to like specify everything. I can just like let things be implied. And yeah, so like basically with this particular chapter that is happening between two other chapters from like this character's POV, I'm like, what exactly do I add? Like not exactly what, but like how much do I add also on top of that? And I already have some ideas as to like what we're gonna show, and I don't know, it's kind of like a continuation where I already have, but you know, it is, yeah, anyways. So that's kind of like me and my writing, and I'm honestly curious to see how things are gonna go now that I'm back. You know, for example, this week, like how exactly is my writing going to be impacted? Because I do think that by being here, I'm going to be more likely to write. Because I was still writing when I was, you know, out there traveling, you know, on my trip. But you know, there like that was not the priority. That was not like my main concern. That was just, you know, some of the things I was doing that were, you know, something that was, you know, good for my head, good, you know, for peace of mind, good for, you know, feeling satisfying. It's good for a variety of things. It's good to get also like the creative juices flowing, and I want the creative juices to just be in this particular endeavor, not so much, you know, in other things and fantasies that I have. Like I just want all the juice I have to be directed at, you know, like this novel, or maybe not this novel, this world. It can be like a different, you know, installment in this world. It doesn't have to be this one. And also like I was thinking about this the other day because I was there were many points in time where I was very like invested in the other stories in this world, and I was like I had started writing them and all that. I didn't kind of like end up coming, you know, crashing against the wall, in terms of like, because I think that particularly stuff that happens, you know, in like not right now, because I have two, you know, proposals that I'm directly working on. One that happens in the 70s and one that happens in the 19th century, and then, you know, like those, they require like a little bit more of research, and you know, I'm excited about research is fun, but you know, like compared to like what I have right now, it's more straightforward. You know, like I sometimes I end up sticking to this, and also like I wasn't for the longest time very excited to revisit those other stories. I think this excitement is coming back again, you know, so it is kind of like, you know, it is coming. It is not 100% here yet, but like I'm very invested, particularly in the one that happened in the 70s. You know, I want to, particularly because of the characters, you know, I really want to develop their stories, because you're seeing some of them like right now in the time being, you know, the present time. I mean, it's actually 2013, but no, it's still pretty much present. And I want to kind of like, you know, write about like what, you know, made them become the way they are, you know, the things that happened in the past, because there's a lot, you know, that is about the story that has to do with like what happened in the past. So, you know, I want to explore that. But yeah, that's kind of like it for, you know, writing. I think that, you know, yesterday, I mean, in some moments, you know, some of the fantasies they took over, and they were not, you know, the ones, particularly when I was going to bed, the ones that like I wanted, but like I did have to resort to those because my head was not doing well, so I needed like the kind of like comfort, you know, like that coping mechanism. Anyways, bye.